This is my top 10 favorite thrash albums list. This took a while, but it's finally here. I'm gonna go through some honorable mentions first. First is Sepultura, Schizophrenia. This is the one you should all know. It's Sepultura at their best in my eyes. It's by far my favorite Sepultura record. It's got the riffs, it's got the drum sound, the way the toms sound. It's that really weird clinky noise or whatever. I just can't get enough of this. You should all know it. From the Past Comes the Storms, Escape to the Void, Septic Schizo, Rest in Pain. Rest in Pain might be my favorite. I love that one. Next up is Merciless, The Awakening. This is one of my favorite metal albums ever, but it's a different reason why I'm not including it on the list, that being it's more on the death metal side than it is the thrash side, even though most of the riffing is very thrash oriented. But I feel like since it's considered Swedish death metal, if you ever read that book, Swedish Death Metal, Merciless is in there, so I think to me it's more of like it's like a 50-50, but I would consider it Swedish death metal for sure, since they're included in that scene and such. So Merciless, The Awakening is my second honorable mention. Next up is a very good must, Morbid Saint, Spectrum of Death. This is another one you should. This is like evil fucking death thrash. It's great. Lock Up Your Children, Assassin, Damien, Crying for Death, Beyond the Gates of Hell. Just every song is a banger. I love the really creepy, trippy guitar part for the title track. I love it. It reminds me of the Possessed Exorcist intro. It's great. This is one you should all know. The Morbid Saint. This album's legendary. Destruction System's okay, and I don't really like the new one, but you can't go wrong with this. Third honorable mention, Morbid Saint, Spectrum of Death. And the next honorable mention, I don't feel like waiting for it to arrive, but I don't have it on me right now, but it's Numbskull, Ritually Abused. That it's like Protector and Morbid Saint having a wrestling match in a burned out church or something. It's super dark and really maniacal and fast, and it's insane. It's super underrated. I remember seeing the old music video from the band Biocancer. Their song Bulletproof, the singer's wearing a Numbskull shirt, and I was like, holy shit, that's the sickest thing ever. But the Numbskull, Ritually Abused would be my other honorable mention. Friday's Child, Off With Your Head, Kiss Me, Kill Me, amazing songs. Off With Your Head for sure, because it'll damn straight take your head off, that song. I absolutely love it. And the final honorable mention will be Violence, Eternal Nightmare. I'm still waiting for the CD. I didn't feel like waiting for it. I just wanted to get, and plus these are honorable mentions, so I just want to get out the way early. Eternal Nightmare is a Bay Area thrash classic. Everyone knows it. The riffs are absolute earworms. Kill on Command might be my favorite thrash metal song of all time. That song's just relentless. It's quite the forearm destroyer on guitar as well, but the bass playing, the solos, the songwriting, it's all super catchy. I've been listening to it for so long. The turnoff is the vocals, though, for most people, and it took a minute for me to get used to the vocals. He's not a great singer, but he definitely brings it live, though. I've seen them live twice, and they're even more intense than they are on record somehow. So honorable mention, Violence, Eternal Nightmare. Now on to the top 10 list. There isn't any very specific criteria that I have for this, but I will say this, though. Each album, all of these are very, very comparable in terms of how much I love each one compared to the other. For example, I don't think the number 3 spot on this list just destroys the one album at the number 9 spot, and so on and so forth. They're all not far off from each other in terms of how much I love each one compared to the other. So just keep that in mind. Kicking it off at number 10 is a band I've been obsessed with the past couple years. Hellripper with their debut, Coagulating Darkness. This is riffs for days. I play these very often. I can't pick up a guitar and E flat without playing these riffs. It's one of my favorites. It did come out in 2017, so it's kind of like a newbie pick on my part, but Bastard of Hades, Annalise, with an Everlasting Hellfire, which has the greatest outro riff in the history of the universe, by the way. From Hell, Conduit Closing, just super catchy, just It's like Bathory. James McBain is like the spiritual successor to Corthon, as far as I'm concerned. This is like Bathory meets Toxic Holocaust meets like Motorhead. It's just it's the best, man. Like, everything by Hellripper is great, but James really knocked it out of the park with this one especially. He's even got a Dismember shirt on. He's cultured. I talk to him pretty often too. I'm going to Hell's Heroes next year. They got announced to play Hell's Heroes next year, Hellripper, and when I saw that on the lineup, I lost my mind. It's just, I cannot wait to see them. Put it in the comments if you're going to Hell's Heroes, because Hellripper is probably the main reason I'm going. Anyway, the solos are fucking great, especially on Annalise. It's just, the riffing is, again, I cannot get over the riffing. It's just amazing. It's catchy as hell. It's that really tremolo-y, black metal-y type riffs. It's just so good. Number 10, Hellripper. Coming in at the number 9 spot is an album that, if you don't like it, I'm questioning if you're even...
You fucking poser!
Exodus, Bonded by Blood. This is a stupid poser censor covered art, but I had to have it. Wish I could find an LP of it, but for some reason it's pretty out of print. It goes for $200, but this is a thrash metal greatest hits comp in itself. Like, this isn't even an album. The title track, Exodus, and Then There Were None, Lesson in Violence, Metal Command, Piranha, Deliver Us to Evil, Strike of the Beast, the best Wall of Death mosh song ever. Exodus is my all-time favorite band, and I know Bonded is kind of like the normie answer, but I love all eras of Exodus. The only one that sucks is Force of Habit. That album's horrible, but Bonded is just iconic. It's Bailoff's vocals, the H-Team and their solos, and Tom Hunning's drumming is great. Tom Hunning's probably my favorite drummer in all of metal. This is just a timeless classic. I didn't put it higher because there's other albums I personally like more, even though I do love this album. Like I said, these albums aren't far off. I love all of them close to equally, but not by much. Yeah, number 9, Exodus, Bonded by Blood. If you don't have this in your collection, leave. And at the number 9 spot is an absolutely unhinged death thrash masterpiece. Looking forward to seeing these guys at Hell's Heroes as well. Anyone that knows. Sadus, Illusions. This is so insane. I love their demo. I kind of wish that the Kill Team was on here and not just on the demo, but my God, this is where Steve DiGiorgio made his mark. Like, I've always just, like, I know people praise Death and stuff, and that's fine, but this is the best band Steve DiGiorgio was ever a part of by far. It's just awesome. Certain Death is definitely my favorite. That song just blows your head off. Undead, Sadus Attack, Hands of Fate, Twisted Face, Fight or Die. Just insane. And Darren Travis's vocals are so unhinged. Like, there's no band that sounds like this other than Desolus. But they kind of worship Sadus. Like, the only band I could compare them to is Desolus. But they're just so good. John Allen's drumming, I don't know how that guy... He's insane, too. Like, they're just great musicians. It's not just, Unga Bunga, caveman, throw rock, death thrash. Like, there's actually, like, some technical... Swallowed in Black is when they got more technical, and Swallowed in Black is super close. But this is just absolute insanity. Extreme even by today's standards, especially for 1988. Love this one. Sadus Illusions. The number 7 spot is my favorite crossover album at all time. I scored it at a record store in person, which I couldn't believe when I saw it. Cryptic Slaughter's Crackhead Little Brother, Vermoth Shark Attack. I like Beer Mock too, but the lyrics are hilarious, first of all. But the music itself, it basically borders on grindcore because of how fast and ridiculous it is. It's fast and ridiculous, but it's played tight. which is really, really cool. Blow You Away is definitely my favorite song. I love some of the lines in that song are great, the lyrics, and just the song itself is wonderfully structured. It just pounds you. I love it. Not like that, but Shark Attack, the title track, SOP, Jabberjaw, Barrage of Skankers, Napalm Shower, Fretboard Gymnastics, just great, fast, aggressive as hell crossover. The solos are actually pretty cool too. They're kind of like Slayer-esque but better. But the drumming is awesome. This is probably my favorite drum sound on a thrash album ever. It just sounds perfect. I wish a lot of modern crossover bands would try to imitate this just because of how great and unique it is, because a lot of crossover nowadays, except for a selected few, just is kind of lame nowadays. It just kind of, it's like they either copy DRI or they copy Municipal Waste, and that's it. But this is one of a kind. I absolutely love it. I know I'm kind of just repeating myself, but this just completely crushes your head in at every turn. In standard tuning, may I add. Like, this is proof that you don't need a down tune to be heavy. It just gives you a whiplash with every song. But not all the songs are just skank beats. They're actually varied and stuff. Whereas with Cryptic Slaughter, even though they're great, the songs are kind of just skank beats all the way through. This is like more dynamic and just kind of punch you in the mouth factor. I can't believe I discovered it this late, and I still love Cryptic Slaughter. I still love The Accused, Excel, Cro-Mags, Leeway. I mean, Leeway's, I guess, a hardcore band, not a crossover band, but Municipal Waste, of course, Enforced, Power Trip, Natamac, all good, but this is the king crossover album for me. Cover's great too. Number 7, Vermont Shark Attack. This is a newer band, an album that I've never hear anybody talk about, but I've just been obsessed with it, and I've always been obsessed with it ever since I first heard it. Division Speed, self-titled, their only album, hoping they do a new one soon. This is, you want to talk about riffs for days. It has World War II fighter plane samples and air raid siren samples. This shit is the thrash metal equivalent of an airstrike. It's like Niflheim meets Razor meets like Running Wild. It's like Running Wild trying to play thrash metal with Asphyx style vocals. It's just amazing. It's similar to Hellripper. If you're a fan of Hellripper and you haven't heard this, you need to get on it, man. Like, this is just greatness. The opening song, Panzer Commando, is the weakest song on the album, which is unbelievable to me. Iron Wings of Death. I just get this cold, like, adrenaline feeling in my chest every time I listen to these songs. Snowstorm over Narvik. It's got that. These are all super melodic songs too. It's just really super insane. And all the riffs are just earworms. The drumming is, when I compared them to Razor, the drumming is very similar, where it's kind of just the same time signature, the same beat over and over, but all the songs stand out and they're all different. Kind of like how Panzer Division Marduk is like all blast beginning to end, but all the songs stand out. It's a really similar case with this album. Rule Britannia, Black Wolves, Freezing Cold, Stern Battalion, Division Speed Attack, that might be my favorite. That middle section is just orgasmic. The gang vocals sound huge, and the main vocals are super aggressive. It's more kind of a death metal style vocals, but with thrash. I always talk about this on, my Instagram and to people I know in person. It's just, I'm obsessed with. This is another album I'm obsessed with. It's a newer one, but you have to hear it. Number 6, Division Speed, self-titled. 5 is kind of a bias for me because this is the album that got me into underground music. A good amount of people tend to shit on them since they're hardcore adjacent, but I don't care. This album, I probably wouldn't be here without it. Power Trip, Nightmare Logic. Even hardcore kids like this, and those people can't stand thrash metal. I know personally. Like, they don't like anything fast. Literally go to a show, and as soon as their drummer, who incidentally always looks like this. Plays anything faster than a D beat. Everybody in that pit goes from bone wheel skeleton to gargoyle in a matter of seconds. Like, it's like, and I'm talking like the modern hardcore type of stuff. Like, those people just, I don't, even they like this album, and that's saying something. So many people like them. The punks like it, the metal guys like it, and the hardcore guys like it. It's the opening track of Soul Sacrifice with the fat ass fucking riff. Executioner's Tax is an anthem. It's that music video. 17-year-old me seeing that music video for Executioner's Tax, I thought that was the hardest shit on the face of the earth. The front row looks like a prison riot. It's like the band, they're like playing in this tiny ass venue and people are just losing their minds. Executioner's Tax, like, who doesn't know the chorus to that song at this point? Firing Squad is a really fast SOD style, in your face type of song with the breakdown in the middle. The title track has some great riffs and great. Riley Gale is probably my favorite lyric writer in thrash metal. Just the way he translates his worldview to his lyrics is just great. But he makes it catchy too. It's not like he's not just posturing the whole time. Ruination's the good like mid-paced DB type song. Crucifixation's got the heavy as hell breakdown in the middle. Chris, the drummer, doesn't use double bass. He just uses one kick pedal. Just proof you don't need to pound people with double bass for a thrash album to just destroy you, and that's exactly what this album does. I've had it since I was 17. It's scratched up. I love it. I feel like this was kind of destined to be a modern classic when it came out. It's so good, and just their live videos are great. They're insane. As far as the whole sound, it's nothing special. It's not anything new or reinventing the wheel. The influences are very obvious, taking influence from like Sepultura, Exodus, Leeway, Nuclear Assault, Cro-Mags, Slayer, SOD, stuff like that. But what they're able to do with it is just make super catchy, heavy thrash metal, death metal style vocals. Just awesome. Number 5, Power Trip, Nightmare Logic. On the Texas thrash metal train. This is an album I also think it's overlooked. This is by far their best album. They evolved so well. It's just a shame that they didn't put anything else out. Number 4, Devastation, Idolatry. Dave Burke can solo. Rest in peace. That guy can solo. The vocals, while not great, they work for what Devastation is. And just the song structures, really catchy stuff. And it has, as the drums just pound you, the drumming's wild too, especially on the song Never Believe. That might be my favorite. It's the most aggressive on the album. Deliver the Suffering as some of the sickest solos. Free Will's catchy as hell. Forsaken Hatred, Legacy of Faith, Subconscious, all awesome stuff. I got to meet Rodney and their bass player at Hell's Heroes, by the way. It was really cool talking to them. I never thought I would ever meet him, especially since these guys have literally been broken up for 30 years and are never coming back. But that was just an awesome experience. But yeah, I can't say enough good about it. The riffs are really catchy and aggressive, and I can't say enough good about this. Devastation Chicago is great because it's more the death thrash and the growly vocals, but Devastation Texas has always stood out to me more. Signs of Life is great, and the Contaminated demo is really good too. First 2 demos, first album, not a fan at all, but Idolatry will always have a special place in my heart. Number 4, Devastation, Idolatry. 3 is an absolute 10 out of 10 must for anyone that likes thrash metal. Another Texas thrash album. Well, I don't know what it is with these Texans and their thrash metal. There's something in the water down there. Number 3, Rigor Mortis, self-titled. This album is like my whole personality at this point. Like, I've forcefully made it my whole personality because of how much I love it. But look at this band photo, dude. That's probably my favorite band photo ever. Like, that's just that just screams thrash metal. The covers fucking, this is, even Joel Grind knew this was sick. The guy, on the Evil Never Dies album cover, there's literally a dude on the cover's got the Rigor Mortis shirt on. Like, come on. Granted, I didn't discover Rigor Mortis till way later after Toxic, but so I didn't come to appreciate that until later. But, God, so many people don't notice that or talk about that, and I just find it the coolest thing ever. Anyway, Mike Scotch is a whole different beast on the guitar. I don't know how his picking is just, he picks so damn fast. He does crazy pinch harmonic parts. When he solos, it's just the bass in the background. There's no rhythm guitar. It sounds like they recorded it live, which I find so cool. But anyway, Welcome to Your Funeral is alone. That's an instrumental, and it's just blows away some bands' albums. Demons, Bodily Dismemberment, Condemned to Hell, Wizard of Gore. That's like the fan favorite from people I know that like this album. Shroud of Gloom, that's like kind of a Cannibal Corpse type song with the riffing and the speed, and it's got all the songs have wild solos. Die in Pain, where Mike Scotcha sings, I believe. Vampire, Reanimator, reanimate me. I love that chorus. Slow Death, that's probably like their most dynamic song. That one's amazing. Foaming at the Mouth, Grudge Fuck, which is really fast and in your face and ignorant. This sounds like nobody to this day. The vocals are awesome. The solos, of course, like I said before, the riffs are really good. All the songs just stand out and have their own identity. Especially Bodily Dismemberment. There's just so many wild guitar parts and like time changes and fills on that song. It's so good. This album, I just love it. I'm considering getting it tattooed on me, but that's a whole different story. I feel like there's a lot of people that spend way too much damn money on tattoos, let me tell you. I know personally. But yeah, this is insanity. In some other universe, I buy a picture disc of this album. But number 3, Rigor Mortis, self-titled. Absolute insanity. Number 2 favorite of all time, an 11 out of 10. This is my favorite album by them. There's a close toss-up between this and Evil Invaders, but this is the one I always go back to. It's just... Again, this album is my personality. Razor, Violent Restitution. You cannot go wrong with this. Even Ryan Wace, like, my friend saw them in LA when they played there for the first time, I believe, and Ryan Waste came out and sang Behind Bars with them. Like, even he knows. But this is awesome. As soon as I saw the cover, I'm like, okay, this is gonna be sick. There's literally a chainsaw sample on the song Taste the Floor. It's just so good. The lyrics are super sleazy, tough guy, like, but in a good way. And I don't really pay attention to lyrics that much, but this is just, all the songs are amazing. All of them, they're all fast as hell and just completely curb stomp your head in. But they're all different, they're all memorable, they're all amazing. The opening song, that long ass scream that Sheepdog does. Sheepdog is a maniac. He's he sounds like an evil Lemmy, but he does like the sadist style, like really high screams. Kind of like how Lord Worm does on, what's the song? Open Face Surgery. Yeah, Lord Worm tried to do a Sheepdog on that song, and to be honest, he probably did it better. But yeah, Hypertension, Taste the Floor, Behind Bars, You Only Live Once, Below the Belt, Enforcer, which has the hardest damn riff in the universe as the intro. I absolutely love it. The title track, Out of the Game, Edge of the Razor, Discipline, Welts all over my chest. I love that chorus too, that's so catchy. All of these are catchy, but yeah, this is just pure attitude and speed and everything. I love it. Dave Carlos, one of the most underrated guitarists in thrash metal. His solos are not that great, but his riffs are fucking insanity. This is timeless. This is probably definitely my favorite album from out of Canada, personally. And I'm lucky I got the honor to see Razor at Hell's Heroes Fest last year, which was really great. Got to meet Ryder too, the drummer, cool guy. Didn't meet Dave, unfortunately, but yeah. They opened with Cross Me Fool, and people just started, bodies just started flying. Like, one of my favorite live shows to date. Number 2, this is, if you don't own this, there's a problem. Razor, Violent Restitution. Coming in at the number 1 spot. My favorite thrash album of all time, and my favorite metal album of all time. Demolition, Hammer, Epidemic of Violence. This is apex death thrash right here, people. Also got it signed by him at Hell's Heroes this year. Cool guys, super, super nice dudes. This was my second time seeing them. I almost split my knee open in the pit during Infectious Hospital Waste, and that was probably my favorite live band ever. They're so brutal. There was a dude crowd surfing in a garbage can while I was watching them. It was insane. But anyway, to the music, it's just... For the longest time when I was new to metal, I didn't think thrash metal could sound like brutal and violent and ugly. Like, I had heard Pleasure to Kill, and I was like, okay, like, this is insane, but like, this album is just a whole different beast. It's so twisted and just dark and violent. Some of the songs don't even have choruses. Like, they're structured really strangely, but it works. They're all catchy and they're all super different from one another. Skull Fracturing Nightmares. The title matches the song, let's just put it that way. That song will crush your damn head in. It will crush everything. Human Dissection, that's like the middle part with a super fast double bass, and then it just keeps going into these like chugging, just mid-pace, like heavy as hell ass riffs. That song is insane. It just makes you want to slam your heel into some dude's head. It's just Envenomed is really good. It's really catchy. Carnivorous Obsession, that's like that slow chuggy one. It's Ritual Sacrifice. I absolutely love that, singing along to that one the most. Orgy of Destruction, which is kind of an interlude. The title track, which just completely pummels you. The chorus comes in super fast and just takes your spine out of your back and breaks your fucking skull with it. Omnivore, that one's got just a cool pacing to it. It's like, it's just this really ominous like type of riffing, goes into a mid-pace part, and then it just explodes and goes super fast, and it's just non-stop, just destroying you. And the last track, Aborticide, which is a cool double bass intro and is really catchy. That's probably the one people react the craziest to live. Vinny Days' drumming is, rest in peace Vinny Days, his drumming is just absolute madness. It's like Animal from the Muppets puffed a speedball up his nose. It's just the double bass parts he does, just the fills, everything. The way it contrasts to the riffing is really fucking good too. The riffing's just awesome. Every song is just all killer, no filler. I can't overstate that enough. I've been listening to it for so long, I mean like a few years, but I can't get enough of it. Tortured Existence is great. Necrology Demo I like more than Tortured Existence, strangely enough. And Tortured Existence is in a league of its own. I think this is when Demolition Hammer just mastered their craft. And I talked to the singer Steve, and he's like, "Oh, those albums fucking suck. We were just dumb kids playing thrash metal." I'm like, "What the hell are you talking about, dude?" Like, I don't care I don't forget what Steve says. This album is insanity. It just never relents. It never relents. Even the slow songs. Yeah, I feel like I'm just a broken record at this point talking about this record, but it's pun intended. Yeah. They're working on a new album, by the way, and they're working on putting their demos on their own. Stay tuned. I talked to the members, I know. Number 1, Demolition, Hammer, Epidemic of Violence. That's gonna do it for my top 10 favorite thrash albums of all time. I hope you enjoyed the video. This video is kind of off the top of my head, but also sort of rehearsed in my head to an extent. Listen to all of these if you haven't. Support the underground, support metal, support thrash metal. I'll see you later.